Hey everyone, it's Libby from maighstirtarot. I'd like to acknowledge the Worimi First Nations people, the traditional custodians of the land on which these videos are made, and welcome to you, your guides, my guides, and the universal energies. Just 2 videos today. I got caught up for grandma duties this morning. Absolutely so much fun. Couple of hours, and then in the end, they both fell asleep on the sofa on me. So that was absolutely lovely. Okay, and yeah, off for a haircut this afternoon. Starting to look like I'm trying out for one of the Beatles with that mop top going on there, or one of the Riot Women. What a great show that is if you manage to catch it. It is British, it's quite confronting, it's very, very well done. And yeah, I'm absolutely there with the Riot Women. Great show. Okay, entertainment only, but what do I want to have a look at? Something a little bit wisdomy today. I'm going to use the Mystic Cats Tarot. So this was sent to me by one of my beautiful viewers, along with the Crow Tarot that I used in my previous video. I am looking at some more cards, but boy, oh boy, I have to bring them in from overseas and they're so expensive. So we'll see how that goes, see how I feel on any given day. I did actually have them in my basket to purchase, and then the postage was more than what the cards cost, and I went, I can't do that. So we'll just see how it goes. Okay, what happened over the weekend? I'm just going to talk about some wisdom things that happened over the weekend. I was out having a beautiful walk on lovely, lovely sunny weekend. Summer doesn't want to seem to give up here, although we might get some rain later today looking out the window there. Um, and I ran into someone I hadn't seen for years who is very spiritual, similar age to me, lives in the suburb, but you know, we're both busy people, we're both working. And we got chatting. 3 hours later, I made it home. Hubby was just, I said, oh, sorry. And he's like, yeah, I just assumed you'd spending 10,000 words with someone on your travels. And absolutely, that's what it was. With me with in my backpack bag 2 litres of milk and a bottle of whiskey. But anyhow, I'm sure they're still okay. But what I want to have a look at is pretty much just energies reading and where do we go from here. Um, and as I'm shuffling and my guides tell me to stop, we've got the magician here, the ability to manifest for yourself, because with this 10 of swords, we have been stabbed in the back so many times over and over and over again that there is nothing more they can do. Well, there is, but there isn't. And I'm talking about on an intellectual level here. 10 of swords, ending. Time to manifest the future going forward. So having a lovely chat with this friend. Now, she had gotten divorced at 50. Scary, scary, scary. It is a common time for divorce to happen as the children have grown up, left home, and often in a relationship, one party's then moving into grumpy old boring, wanting to settle down, at the same time that the other in the relationship's going, oh my goodness, I actually have my freedoms for the first time in 20 or 30 years or whatever. I can do what I want. So this particular, 2 of swords. It is absolutely decision time. It's really, really, really common. Decision time, 2 of swords. And again, the magician, the ability to manifest the future you want for you going forward. So this particular friend went back to university, got a degree in a subject that she had been wanting to study for a long time. I think it was some form of childcare, special education children. And so went back to university, got a degree, started working, built her own house. Now she built for herself a house, lovely house, on a vacant block of land. So, and she put upstairs of the garage a second dwelling area. And that means that she can either rent out over the garage, or if she decides down the track, and this is to bring extra money in, she said she rents out rooms, so probably Airbnb type style, or I think she actually, one of them might be to a uni student. I mean, we didn't get deep in that sort of conversation. We're talking a lot of philosophical stuff rather than actual. But she was saying that she does rent out a couple of her rooms, and I suspect one's to a uni student, and the other might just simply be the over the garage one as an Airbnb. For extra income. So what we were talking about is the ability to bring in extra income. And what's happened is she has set herself up for down the track that she can then rent her whole house out and live above the garage if she so chooses to do so. So this is very much what I'm getting here. You've got the Five of Swords. The walking away from what is the expected. Now this can be the Five of Cups, sorry. Loss, regret in the past, but turning one's attention to what we can do, the two cups that are still standing. Be grief-stricken. She did say it took her about 5 years to actually emotionally move on, and she still gets on really well with her ex-husband. They just couldn't live together any longer. There was no anything there. But this was about allowing to go through the grieving process, but also looking at what options there are available. Now, one thing we did talk about, because the Queen of Swords, stepping into your energy, your power, your strategy, but she's also holding two swords here. So instead of the crossed two swords, she's holding the strength of the two swords, of the intellectual decision. So one thing that we were talking about was about with taking action in life. We have no control over anybody else's reactions, actions, movements, etc., what they choose to do. The only person we actually have control over is ourselves, how we choose, how we react to other people's choices. And it was just a really good confirmation about choices. As we go through this new period, this new energy, we step into this new energy. And because I'm getting quite a few emails from people who are wanting confirmation that they're on the right path, or what do I do next? I'm not sure what to do next because things are up in the air and this is happening and that's happening. That is out of their control. And it was really good to have that conversation about the choices with the Age of Pentacles, plus the hard work. And then we've got the Seven of Cups as well. The choices, the options that are available to us. Two cards about opportunities and options. And so we were having a discussion about having control over our own lives. And pretty much, women get to a certain stage, a lot of us, where we go, well, this is my life. You can either join this journey with me or take a hike, because I'm happy with who I am and I am going to look after number one first. So where am I going with this? Well, it's very much about with the worry and stress at the moment. So worry and stress is pretty much sitting on a rocking chair, rocking back and forwards frantically, and getting nowhere, expending a lot of energy for no result. We have options. We can either choose, if there's something we can take action, we can take the action or let it go. Because to not take action and just worry about something is expending an enormous amount of energy and emotional, physical, intellectual energy for no result. So that's what this particular, and there's that Two of Swords, making a decision. And the Emperor is about taking control of your life for you. The decision, taking control. Instead of allowing external factors. Now, we do have to be aware of external factors. They are a consideration, but we can either choose to fall under them with the Seven of Swords, or we can choose to take control and determine the direction we go in. Now, just a little bit of history here, a huge turning point for me. I grew up love my mum desperately, love my dad, but they were old-fashioned, and when I grew up, they were very strict parents. Curfew of 10 o'clock when you're 17 years old. Yeah, right, that's going to happen. So, very strict, but also not, my mother was never ever maternal. So not this nurturing, maternal, being friends with your children type thing. It was pretty much you sit at the table and you eat your dinner and you don't leave the table until you finished it. Goodness me, it took me decades to be able to leave food on a plate if I was full. So, but part of that shift, being able to leave food on the plate, overcoming my upbringing, is very much, I took a course in my mid-30s, perhaps mid to late-ish 30s. I think I might have been about 30. Gosh, I might have even been coming on towards 40 then. Goodness me. I just took a course, and I can't remember anything of that course except for one particular module. And believe it or not, it was a real estate investing course. But this particular model was about attitude to money. And what that particular module was about was how we learn from our parents an attitude towards money. And we can learn the attitude of, money is evil, spend every cent you've got, we're too poor to do anything, etc. Or you can learn that there is always abundance. We always make do. There's always we can always earn more or spend less or whatever it is. There were different ways of learning from your parents. The particular part of that module that really struck me was the fact that and there we've got the Two of Swords again. It was in the middle of the deck, and there it is again. A crossroads moment, an intellectual decision moment, where the particular module was talking about that our attitudes, our personalities, who we are, none of it is carved in stone. None of it is the solid imprint of our childhood, of our upbringing. Everything is about choice that we choose for us. And what I learned on that particular, from that particular lesson was very much about stopping blaming my parents, my ex-husband, my schooling, my blah, 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 blah. It forced me to really have a look internally and realize that I had spent all of my adult life up to that point blaming other people for any situations that I was in, any choices that I had made. And at that moment, I realized that actually it was nobody else's fault. All my choices were my choices, and it was up to me to take control of my life going forward and make the decisions for me, instead of allowing things to happen to me and then blaming, oh, my mother didn't love me enough, or my father never, took me fishing, or, whatever it was. I'm sure he took us fishing, but fishing's not my thing. But it was a huge moment for me in my development. And it's a bit like we were talking about, we all know people like this, who perhaps, especially with women, who are widowed or are divorced, and they spend the rest of their lives blaming the other party for leaving them in whatever form, whether it's through divorce or through death or whatever. But when you see them, oh, he promised he would never leave me when they died. I'm sure he didn't choose to die, but he promised he'd never leave me, and then they spend the next, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40 years in this intellectually trapped position that they have put themselves in. So this is what I'm really wanting to tell you. So we've got 8 of Swords and we've got the 8 of Cups. This is about walking away from what no longer serves you and choosing something new that does. Accepting the obstacles and choosing. Or being intellectually trapped in a situation. Now, I'm just going to point out, life is not fair. Life, it simply isn't. But the choices that we make about where we go forward is completely up to ourselves. If you are finding yourself in a financially difficult situation, is there some way that you can make some money? Dog walking, hemming clothes or mending clothes, cooking meals for those that are working full time, or child minding, or propagating plants, or whatever it is. We are only limited, actually, and that is reminding me of, goodness me, that was going back years ago. There was a television show. It was a reality TV show. Don't like them nowadays. But it was decades ago, where they put 4 or 5 couples, I can't remember how many, and some of them had children, and they set them up for a period of time, month, 2 months, however long it was, in cabins. And they had to live like colonial homesteaders with the natural environment around them. And the ones that really made progress were those that actually stopped whinging and actually thought about ways they could make money. There was one, she was baking cakes and baking bread for the other homesteaders, and they would pay her for her bread, and they were pies, bread and pies, because they were too busy doing whatever they were doing, whinging, and couldn't be, and it was easier for them to spend what little income they had paying her for the food that she was providing. So I'm just putting it out there. There are options going forward in this time. And that lesson I learned about, we are not carved in stone. We are a blueprint. And if you think about a blueprint, architect plans, and I'm just going to point out, I wasn't a fully fledged architect. I was an interiors architect. So the interior stuff, which was more sort of where walls went and cupboards and blah, 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 blah. It was just a complementary to the interior design course. So I was qualified in both of those. But we are not we are a blueprint. We are not a marble carving. And you can look at a blueprint and you can decide, I don't like that bit, and you choose how you want to change it. Because again, I've been shuffling while I'm talking to you. Here is this 2 of Swords again. We are all at this choices crossroad about which way we go forward. And the Fool, the new beginning. The universe has got our back going forward. The universe has got our back. Trust that we are on the path that we are meant to be on. Doesn't mean we don't make choices. We still have to make choices. But the choices we make can be beneficial, or they can hold us back. So let me just do a little spread. I've got all sorts of decks out here, but I think I'm going to stick to the Mystic Cats. Let's do a spread, an energy spread about what do we need to know going forward on this Monday. Now, I hope all of this makes sense. It's not too waffly for you, but let's have a look. What do we need to know going forward? It was just a beautiful, beautiful reading about settling into who we truly are. Not reading, conversation about settling into who we truly are. So, yeah, Janine Harrison, you want to know how old Janine is? She's in her 90s and doing and selling beautiful artwork. So, never too late. What do we need? Wheel of Fortune, karma, destiny, taking control. It is time. The time is now. The Wheel of Fortune. So come on down, let's have a look. What do we need to know about the energy? Absolutely. Karma, destiny, fate. But the time is now to take control. The second signifier is the King of Pentacles. Kings are about action, taking actions with opportunities. Now, Pentacles can be money, but they don't need to be. They can be health. Oh, speaking of health, I've been procrastinating for months about starting Tai Chi. And yesterday I finally grabbed the bull by the horns and said, right, I'm doing it. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. That slow moving balancing stuff is a lot harder than it looks, but I decided at 57 I need to do something about my flexibility, my health, my balance. So I have taken action. It is time. Take action with an opportunity. Could be regarding your health, your finances, just anything that brings you security and comfort. Now is the time to take action. So yes, I will be back out this afternoon after my haircut, doing some Tai Chi walking around the backyard and trying not to fall over. Okay, what else have we got here? The energy behind the scenes is the Knight of Wands. You are being given a poignant and powerful message here. It is a precious message. It's up to you whether you act on it or not. We've got the Eight of Pentacles. This is about opportunities. Sit down with a big piece of paper and write up all without self-judgment at all the opportunities of what you dreamed of doing when you were younger, of what you can do now. Now, as I said, this Tai Chi that I've decided to take action on, it can be done in a chair. There are options. There is chair yoga. There is chair Tai Chi. If your physical health is not enough to be balancing on one leg in the backyard, there are options available. And this is about looking at all the options, all that we can do. Are you good at throwing tarot cards or reading the bones or what knuckle bones or whatever it is? Put the word out. Did you cleaning people's rubbish bins on garbage day and charging for it? Doing some gardening. In all honesty, I have a cleaner that comes once a fortnight. Lovely young man, gay as they come. I pay him cash, so therefore he's half the price. But he comes once a fortnight to supplement he works in aged care and they get paid lousy. So to supplement, he does a couple of cleaning jobs. Now, I hate cleaning, but he comes once a fortnight to just give it a spruce through. And in the meantime, I do my own cleaning. But, there are options available of what one can do to supplement income if need be, or just what is it that you've put off? that you would love to experience, and you don't know unless you have a go. Okay, the energy out of this Knight of Wands, receiving the message about whether you move forward or not, is the Devil. And the Devil's not a card to be afraid of. The Devil's very much about simply chaining yourself to the Devil, which is or breaking free. And when I talk about the Devil energy, it's very much about we reach a point in our lives, you are hearing this message, and we get to choose which way we want to go. The Devil is incredibly seductive and is alluring and is very much about complacency. And it's very much about not trying something different, staying in the same old, staying in the same mind frame, staying in the same health frame, just staying in the same old, and making no changes and just sticking with the status quo, which we as humans are not supposed to do. We're supposed to, until the very end, we're supposed to learn. We have been given curiosity for a reason. Is it this book that you've always wanted to write, whether it's a children's book or a young teenager's book or an adult's book or I've got a fabulous friend my age who writes, believe it or not, what she calls space porn, and it does incredibly successfully with it, and it's all on the ebook system, so therefore she doesn't have to print. I think she charges about $2.99 or something per download, because once it's written there is unlimited downloads, and she does really well out of it. She's found her niche. So this is about just exploring options. You can either choose to stay with what we've always done, always known, doesn't serve us but is comfortable, or we can move into something new, because here's the Six of Cups. It is being offered to us. The Six of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, the opportunities, and this is the emotionally taking hold of it, deciding to emotionally invest. The energy, this Queen of Swords again. She's got two swords, but they're not crossed. This is about making a decision. This is the karma hanging over the Queen of Swords, making a decision on an intellectual level, but also a strategy, and stepping into our power. And then we've got the Page of Swords and bringing it into fruition. Now, another thing that I'd love to do is I'd love to learn basket weaving. Well, why couldn't I teach myself off YouTube, and then teach classes in basket weaving, and just basket weaving with things that are found, driftwood, rushes, fern fronds, whatever it is. Why is there no reason I couldn't do that? This is about internally coming to a decision and then starting it with the Page of Swords. The outcome, the Seven of Wands, the Knight of Cups, the offer, the Three of Pentacles, working hard to bring something to fruition, and then I love this for a final, the Star. So this Seven of Wands, being on the back foot, being defensive potentially. I can never remember what they mean, but this is about standing firm amongst any criticism that may come your way. Oh, you're too old, or you don't know what you're doing, or whatever. No, stand in your power. The Knight of Cups, beware the false knight with a false offer, but also this is very much about emotionally presenting, putting it out there. Three of Pentacles, working together with others to build something, and then the Star of hope and healing. I love those cards. I love those. I'm just looking at what's coming, you know, what was the underlying. Ten of Pentacles, legacy, but the Three of Swords, loss, heartbreak, despair. So this could be end of an era, end of what was. Grieving it. Allow yourself to grieve. Some people say there's 5 stages, some say there's 7. Grieve what has gone and let it go, because then you've got the the Page of Pentacles. Starting anew. And the Queen of Wands, the inspirational female. The inspirational female inspiring others. Be the person you wanted as a mentor. Make pendulums. It's an amethyst, bit of wire, chain, bracelets. I made the two colourful ones out of a necklace of my mother's. Plants. Grow plants, grow herbs, grow sprouts. You know, the jar where you rinse them and they all sprout, and incredibly healthy. Alfalfa sprout, mung bean sprouts, those sorts of sprouts. And start a little business doing that. They take days. Artwork. Just all sorts of this was made from one of my beautiful viewers as well. This piece of artwork. Absolutely gorgeous. And they sent it to me. Absolutely gorgeous. All the various dragonflies that are around. Again, another gorgeous viewer sent me this. Bought it at a craft fair. Copper. Just copper wire, a little bit of copper sheeting. Absolutely beautiful. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave that in your hands. The lesson of none of us are carved in stone. We are blueprints for us to decide how we want to be put together. And on that note, I'm going to grab some lunch, go for a haircut, and come back and practice my balancing in the backyard, my Tai Chi. Again, something that one can learn and then one can teach, creating videos, teaching others. Okay, love to you all. Take care.